Marshall, Will, and Holly on a routine expedition. Met the greatest earthquake ever known. High on the rapids, they struck their tiny raft and plunged them down 1,000 feet below to the land of the lost.
Come on, get out of here! Come on! Will! Come on, Holly, let's go!
The land of the lost. To the land of the lost.
Sci-fi fans, tonight the Sci-Fi Diner podcast has the great pleasure of hanging out with two people who starred, in my opinion, on one of the very best sci-fi shows and Saturday morning kids shows of the 70s, Land of the Lost. Tonight, we get to talk with Mr. Wesley Eure and Ms. Kathy Coleman. Not only do we get to hang out with them and talk with them, but they are some of the great celebrity guests. They'll be at Shirley 45 coming up July 11th through the 13th. So if you fans are fans of Land of the Lost and you don't live too far from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, please come to Shirley and meet Mr. Eure and Ms. Coleman and celebrate all things Land of the Lost. Mr. Eure and Ms. Coleman, welcome and thank you for taking time to talk with us on the Sci-Fi Diner podcast.
Thank you for
Thank you, guys.
us.
Yeah. Run, Holly, run. There's a dinosaur.
Oh, no.
Right.
We're excited about Shorely.
Yeah, it's the 45th anniversary, and we've heard so much about the show, and we've never been, so we were really happy to be coming.
And we're in our 50th anniversary, so
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Don't tell anyone that. Have you guys ever been to Lancaster, Pennsylvania before?
I have. I used to live in New York for a while. Worked in New York.
Oh,
So-
okay.
But yeah,
I don't think I have.
it's beautiful.
I've been close
Oh,
by.
you'll love it.
Yeah,
Gorgeous country.
yeah, absolutely.
So, I just want to tell you both that Land of the Lost is a wonderful and happy part of my childhood. I was 4 years old when it debuted. 4-year-old Miles was scared of Grumpy the T-Rex and the Sleestak when he first saw them, but he fell in love with the Marshall family, the adventures, the other wonderful characters, and the great storytelling. I wanted to pile on as a kid. Whether I was 4, 14, or older, I always watched Land of the Lost when I could. As an adult, I got the DVDs and enjoyed them again and again. What do the fans tell you when they see you at get-togethers of their Land of the Lost experience when they get the opportunity to meet you?
Wow, we have the most amazing reactions with fans. First of all, we bring a yellow raft with us, like in the opening of the show is Marshall, Will, and Holly.
Yeah.
A routine expedition met the greatest earthquake ever known. High on the rapids, it struck their tiny raft. Plunged down 1,000 feet below. To the land of the lost. To the land of the lost. And then Grumpy the dinosaur goes, roar.
Yeah.
But we bring our yellow wrap so fans can get in. We put life jackets on everybody and oars and bring the Sleestaks skulls and we scream and go over the waterfall for a photo.
Every emotion that you can imagine. I mean, Land of the Lost actually raised like a generation. So when we have these people come to our table, some of them will just burst into tears and some of them are just so excited. They're besides themselves. They're shaking. They're all nervous. And they tell us wonderful stories, everything from because we were a single parent family, Marshall, Will, and Holly, that because they and their parents had been divorced, that they were able to get through it because we did. And I mean, the spectrum of stories that we hear are just incredible.
Well, unlike a lot of Saturday morning shows, we were a drama and it was written by the Star Trek writers. David Gerald, Trouble with Tribbles, was our head writer. Walter Koenig, Chekhov, the original Chekhov, created Enoch, the talking Sleestak, and we had Larry Niven and Spinrad, and I mean all these amazing stuff. In fact, Gene Roddenberry was asked to be our head writer, but Gene couldn't do it, and he recommended David Gerald.
I was gonna say, what was it like as actors working with such great material and writing?
It was a privilege. It was, like David said, he told his writers, he said, "We're not writing a Saturday morning sci-fi show. We're writing a sci-fi show that airs on Saturday morning." And that's why it still holds up with the scripts, because it was good sci-fi with time doorways and matrices and doppelgangers.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
complicated. I mean, some of our dialogue was complicated.
Yeah.
It was a learning experience for me.
Yeah,
We
and
had-
you guys had a linguist, right, who wrote the language of
Pumpkin. Yeah, she was a linguist at, I think, UCLA. Is it?
Right.
And she took 8 different languages and combined them and created the Pakuni language, which Chaka spoke. And it's a real language. I mean, there's a dictionary out for it. And I think it was one of the first time in sci-fi they actually created a language for a different alien species. And of course now we have the Boer. I mean, we have all the different. I mean, all the Klingon. Yeah, all those guys. And
well, now it's just kind of standard. Like, if people don't do that, what are you doing? That's just what we do in sci-fi, you know?
We spoke broken Pakuni.
yeah, Oganza Bisasa. We are hurry. Yeah, Chaka. There's one episode that Phil Paley. Now, Phil Paley, who was fabulous, played Chaka, and he was only 10 years old. He was the youngest black belt in karate. And Chuck Norris was his teacher, and he was on the Tonight Show with Chuck Norris. And Phil, at the time, he was like this tall, like a little thing. And Johnny Carson was way up here. And he comes on with Chuck Norris as his teacher, and he flips Johnny over onto the floor. And Johnny goes running to Ed McMahon and goes, "Ah!" And the Crofts were watching the Tonight Show, and they saw Phil, and they said that kid could be Chaka, because they were thinking maybe a little person would play the role. And thank goodness they got Phil, because there's like one episode, it's almost all Chaka speaking Pakuni. And remember, he's only 9 years old, 10 years old, and he had to learn this language, which was
and you couldn't just gerbil off a bunch of words. I mean, each word was specific, and it was used over and over again. Yeah. So you had to stay true to
like the Sleestak was Sarisataka, we were Wira and Ari, and Oganza Bisasa was Big Magic.
And our last name was Marashara.
To your point, about the fans and stuff, we had a lot of things that happened, but we had one fan that came crying. He was a guy in his late 50s, and he said, "Listen, I got to tell you something. I'm sorry I'm crying. Forgive me. I know this is ridiculous, but during the end of the second season to the third season, we lost our dad, and our Uncle Jack came in." And he said, "My dad was leaving the family, and I was devastated." And I said, "Look, as a kid, I didn't know how I was going to handle it. My dad was leaving, and I was crying all the time, and I didn't think we could survive. And I saw that the Marshall family, when the uncle came in, that you guys survived, and it continued." And he said, "It gave me the hope that that my family would survive and I'd be okay." And he says, "It really helped." So you never know what something you do, you read a script as an actor, you do say something, what the ripple effect might be.
Especially for children, they connect so much with characters, and the emotional impact, like in their mind, like what they're going through, what resonates with them and stays with them. Then, I mean, stuff that happens as kids, that stays with us for a lifetime.
And Kathy had the most amazing experience once. Tell them about the couple that had lost their sight.
They had a guide with them, and they were brought up to
they were blind. Both were blind.
Yeah.
I'm trying to help you out here.
Said, tell the story, and then you said,
you're not filling in.
Shut up.
Ever since we were kids, she always did this.
It's all fun.
We are brother and sister.
Very much so.
We are. Listen, Kathy and I are best friends. And Kathy, we both live now in Palm Springs, so we're neighbors. And unlike a lot of casts that we know that don't speak to each other, we are very close.
So this blind couple, I feel like now I'm telling a joke.
Yeah.
And their handler came up to the table, and they were touching the Sleestak and feeling it. And they had lost their sight pretty much around the same time. And their bond was that prior to losing their sight, they both loved Land of the Lost. So that's what brought them together. And then they wound up getting married. And they asked me if they could like touch me, you know, and they were like, gosh, you're so tall and look at your hair. And it was really, and they were like, as they were like feeling like my face and stuff, they were like crying. And it was so moving. It was unbelievable. And we have things like that. That's just a one shot, but we have things like that all the time, these really emotional moments. And we're so lucky that, you know, we had no idea the impact of what was going to happen with this show. And now 50 years later, we're feeling it. We see what the results of the show, you know, brought to fruition. You know, these people are all coming around, getting in our rafts and telling us all these heartfelt stories. And now that TV screen that was there between us, you know, all those years ago is gone, and it's just us together. And we have this like recognition that's just amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That 70s thing, you know, all of us 70s kids, we kind of bond together.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I remember a lot of your performances on Land Lost had a lot of physicality, running from the dinosaurs or the Sleestak. Was it ever necessary to use stunt doubles at times?
No budget.
No, this was morning prof Saturday morning. we shot an episode every 2.5 days. So we shot 2 episodes a week. And they budget. I mean, it was incredibly written by the Star Trek writers, but the budget was very thin. And
I didn't even get a new shirt for the 3rd season. They just said, roll your sleeves up. Because it was too short for me.
Yeah, she gets taller than me by the 3rd season.
So you had to do all the running and all the physicalness.
Oh yeah, we did everything. Yeah.
Everything.
I see in the first episode we meet Chaka in the episode called Chaka, and I'm carrying Phil Paley and running up the side of the mountain and where our cave is, and I'm thinking, I don't think I can do that today. Phil, go sit over there.
It was high up. I mean, all that climbing to get up there, we actually did all that.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
You must have been really fit.
It was, well, I was a gymnast, so all of that.
Oh.
You know, Phil was the karate guy. I was a gymnast, and I rode horses, so riding the dinosaur came natural. You know, but
Oh well.
But I do have a question now that we're talking a little bit about the physicality of it. Like, so you mentioned you were a gymnast background. How did both of you end up on Land of the Lost? I mean, how did you even like end up on the show together?
Well, it started with me because a friend of mine said, "Hey, I'm going to a pool party at this guy named Sid Crosshouse." You know, okay. And I was on Days of Our Lives at the time. I was playing Mike Horton. And so I go to this thinking there's gonna be a lot of people. Well, there are like 5 of us. And Sid's there in his house, and we talk all afternoon. We just talk. And at the end of the day, he says, "Here's a card. Here's the name of a casting director. I want you to call her on Monday morning because I want you in my new show."
All right. So you didn't even really audition?
Well, I walked in to the executives, and they gave me the job. And then they cast that's why Spencer Milligan looked so much like me, because they cast him around me. And then Kathy, I think we read how many times?
well, I went on 7, you know, one initial interview, and then 6 callbacks, and a meeting with the NBC execs and the directors and all of this, and the cast. We had readings, and prior, what's crazy is a week prior to auditioning for Land of the Lost, I went up for a show that actually aired right before Land of the Lost on Saturday morning. It's called Run, Joe, Run. And it was just 1 episode. And there was like 150 girls that auditioned for it. And then it got down to myself and Christy McNichol. I didn't get it. Christy got it. And it was a 1-day shoot. Well, the day that it was shooting was the day I auditioned for Land of the Lost. So had I got that one day, I would have missed out on these 50 years of the most amazing raft ride I've ever been on in my life.
That's awesome.
Great when you're told no, so you can get the best yes of your life.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's like
And
Google Maps, you know.
Yeah.
higher power knows what you should be doing as opposed to what you think you should be doing.
That's the oddest thing.
What? Because it's the view from above. They see the big.
Oh, okay, all right.
That's
I
right.
picked up what she was putting down.
I got it. I got it. We're all good here.
Even David Gerald, when he's writing the new script for possibly a new Land of Lost movie, he said that in the new movie, I would be like the metaphysical
Right.
aspect of Land of the Lost. Like I have the knowing
Yes.
of Land of the Lost.
Cool. At the start, Kathy and I do the Star Trek convention every year at the Rio, the big granddaddy of all conventions. And David Gerald, we did a panel with David, and he said he was writing a new novel, and it took place. It took place 40 years after Land of the Lost, and we had a baby, an infant brother that couldn't come on the raft ride. So 40 years later, he has 2 daughters, and they come to find us.
They take the same river path.
And Kathy has now kind of morphed into the spirit of Land of the Lost. She's like been absorbed by it. Chaka's head of the Pakuni tribe, and he said, Wesley, and you're a crazy old man living in a cave.
I'll read that book.
I mean,
Typecasting.
Mr. Eure, as well as being seen on screen, you're also a man of the stage, having performed in plays and musical theater. What are some of your favorite shows that you have performed in?
Oh boy. Well, I started out doing Shakespeare at Stratford and American Shakespeare Festival, playing Ariel in The Tempest, and you know, I just, you know, I got to headline in Vegas. I used to open, forgive me, Bill Cosby. I used to open for Bill, and but you know, every job you do is just, for me, it was just a gift. I mean, I couldn't believe we were doing it, and but I think one of the greatest things when I hosted Finders Keepers for Nickelodeon. That had been a dream of mine because I was a regular guest star on Password and Match Game back in the day, and I always wanted to host my own game show. And finally, I got to with Nickelodeon. So that to me was like the pinnacle of my dream. And then I got to co-create in Dragon Tales for PBS, the animated series.
All right.
So
it's awesome.
Ms. Coleman, you're a published author, regaling readers of your experience on Land of the Lost. Where can interested readers find and get copies of your books?
Well, I do bring some of them to the shows that we do.
Oh, good.
And that way they can get an autographed copy of it. But it's also available on Amazon. And it's doing really well. It's won 2 awards, and I get great, you know, commentary back from the people who've read it. They really enjoyed it. It's really an open book to my life.
It is.
I don't hold anything
as
back.
Kathy says to everyone, put on your big girl pants when
Yeah.
you read this. It's quite a story. It is not. It's quite a story.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your typical story.
It's about ups and downs and how you come out of it. You know, how you
and the town, and it's called Run Holly Run, and which she stole my line, by the way. But so run, Holly, run! There's a dinosaur. There's a Sleestak. So, but it won so
like a double entendre on my life and on the line from the
I know. But when it first came out, it was published. It won Best Indie Autobiography of the Year.
Nice.
That's awesome.
He was performing in Vegas, and we didn't even know this, but we actually had the same record producer. I was working for Mike Herb, and I was like down the road from him. What hotel were you at?
Harris.
And I was down the road at the Riviera. I was in a band for 2 years before I got Land of the Lost.
Well, but to be honest, my time at Harris was long after you had finished.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
I always say that, you know, the Crofts didn't just cast my TV family. They literally gave me a real life sister. And Spencer Milligan, who passed away this year, played our dad. He was like a father to us. And Phil Paley Chaka is like a brother. Phil and Kathy talk almost every day. So
Nice.
we are a really tight-knit, close family, and outside of our time on Land of the Lost.
What do you attribute to your connection, staying connected in that way? Because so many casts don't, or you hear stuff, but through the years, I mean, here we are 50 years later, and you guys still have that connection. What do you kind of attribute to that for you?
It's magic in a bottle, guys. is. You know? I think the fact that when I got cast, that they took so much time to find Holly, and it was our chemistry when Kathy was auditioning that they picked up on, and that chemistry. I mean, she, you know, I was in my early 20s playing 16 because I was over at NBC at Days of Our Lives for 10 years, and Kathy, of course, was you were 12 when she started. But the chemistry that we have has just continued all these years, and you know,
Wesley always says that we're cut from the same cloth.
Aw,
We have very similar hearts. In that sense.
that's awesome.
The chemistry between you two is definitely apparent. It's
Yeah.
you know, you can
we love
believe
each other, guys. You know, we really love each other. So,
Mhm.
and we believe me, we get how rare it is in
Right.
business, because as you guys know, you've been around, and we've sat next to many different actors from different series, and you know, this isn't common.
Wesley, you also have published some books. It's more in the children's vein. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Yeah, the first novel I wrote was called The Red Wings of Christmas, and Disney bought it for an animated feature. I wrote the screenplay and the songs for Disney. It's sitting on the shelf,
Oh,
and
they never released it.
the book is out there. You can buy it on Amazon, and but I've had 5 books published,
Okay.
and books and you know comedy and stuff. But and I did another one called A Fish Out of Water, which is a preschooler book for kids, illustrated by Meredith College in Tennessee, and you know just I've had a really fun time on this planet. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome. Now, the real question is, you guys are coming to the shore leave here just in a little over a month. Maybe it's about a month now. Are you bringing the raft?
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Have you
Of
seen,
course.
have you seen the pictures of the raft with people in it? Have you guys?
I have, yeah.
I haven't, but now I have to. So
Every celebrity you can name has been in that raft. From the last one we just posted was
Loretta Swit.
Loretta Swit was in it, but Morgan Fairchild got in it.
That's cool.
Stephen Baldwin, Corey Feldman, the cast of Little House, the Brady Bunch, the Waltons, I mean it's Gilligan's Island, and we know when that was available, and
our last
Wells.
one that we just had was actually the kid. He
Oh
even
my
calls
gosh.
himself Banjo Boy from
Ding, ding, ding,
Deliverance.
ding, ding, ding.
We actually had
Yeah.
him in the back of our raft with a banjo.
You sure got a birdie mouth.
Oh, that's awesome.
So he was fabulous. He is such a great guy.
Good sport.
Oh my gosh! And he got in the raft, and what's fun is people take the photos of the raft. It's on the floor. You would think this is going to be a dumb picture. It comes out so good, and you can Photoshop it. And like the Banjo Boy, they Photoshopped it on a very dark river when you were going down the river and stuff. It's
creepy.
It's
and
creepy.
a bridge behind it, and Banjo Boy standing on the bridge behind it with his banjo, like crazy.
You know, we just lost Loretta Swit from MASH. And when she got about a year ago, she got in the raft. Well, she didn't get in the raft. She came over to the raft. She goes, "I do not get in the raft. I stand outside the raft. I am a major." For MASH.
That's awesome.
Okay, Loretta. Okay, nice.
Yeah.
I mean, fair.
And you see the picture, she's standing there, you're like, and we're in the boat going, with the sleeve
She's
set.
even got like a navy blue looking navy sort of jacket,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
Did you feel the urge to salute and say yes, ma'am? Like,
well, she said, "I want you make sure you use a flash on that camera." And our friend Richard that took the photo, the flash didn't go off, and she said, "Give it to me." And she took it and was erasing the photos.
That is
And
hilarious.
she finally turned to Kathy. What did she say?
No, because she went like off on our friend, and she said, "Don't you lie to me!" And she was really up in his face, and she then said to me, she goes, "Can't they tell that I'm just kidding?"
She said, "I don't know why people are afraid of me."
Yeah,
He was such a great sport.
that's awesome.
I used to do a lot of fundraisers with her for actors and others for animals in the day. And I always said that Loretta Swit's the only person that could say my name right. She'd go, "Wesley."
Are you guys doing any other like special programming at Shore Leave beyond the raft? I mean, that's special in its own right, but
Well, I hope we will do a panel. It's all up to Shore Leave, and
Right.
we're just really excited about going. I mean, we really have done our research, and we see some of our friends will be there and other performers and stuff, and just really happy to be going.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
'Cause, listen.
All three of you will be there, right?
Oh, that's our
Yeah.
plan.
I want to be in the raft.
Yeah,
Oh gosh, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
get the raft.
The raft was Kathy's idea about 10 years ago. And we were thinking about, you go to these conventions and you buy an autograph or a photo or something, celebrity, and you go one of these photos like that, right? And we're thinking, let's create an experience.
Mm.
It's something, if we're all going to be here together, let's go the extra mile. So with the raft and the oars and the life jackets. Now the life jacket, yes, and the life jackets were brought to us by a super fan of us, Howard White said, "Oh, you got to have life jackets." So he purchased all the life jackets.
And the people feel like they've actually been in a scene. They have wardrobe, they have dialogue, they have props, and they
awesome.
the raft laughing and saying that was really fun.
Yep.
And
We'll have to. The three of us will have to go and like get in the raft and.
Oh my God! And you scream, go ah!
Oh yeah.
I'm good at that.
Yeah.
And people go, well, why are you screaming? Why don't you just go? I said, it doesn't photograph as good.
It doesn't.
There's something about the eyes that change.
You have to get into the character,
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
We're doing method acting here.
Yes.
You have to believe you're going 1,000.
Yes, we're going on a routine expedition, and then we're hitting the waterfall.
Yep. High on the rapids, instruct their tiny raft.
There we go.
Hunt them down 1,000 feet below to the land of lost.
Well, is there something that as we were looking at wrapping up here, is there anything that you're excited about in the future that you're plugging that you want us to mention here on the show?
Well,
Other than Shore Leave, we obviously are excited about Shore Leave, but
very much so. Kathy and I are up for a major project right now, which we can't talk about yet, but it's
Okay.
pretty exciting. So we continue to put our toe in the water,
There
so
you
to speak.
So,
so you're going to
Where's-
tease us is what's happening. You're teasing
Yeah.
us about this.
well, where should people go to like follow you and find out and keep up with this special project when you can like talk about it?
We're both on
Facebook and
Facebook,
Instagram, Wesley Eure, and wesleyure.com, wesleyeure.com, and it has links to everything, and it's got a page for Kathy, and it's got our flyers for all the shows that are coming up, the Star Trek shows, the different shows that we're going to be in different places around the country this year,
And
and
there's also a Land of the Lost.
there's a Land of the Lost Facebook page that, it's up to like 40,000 members right now, and it's really
People
terrific.
love it.
It's on Facebook. It's Land of the Lost TV series, 1974 to 1976.
It's like-minded people, and they're very kind to each other, and they share information. And
Yeah.
So people should go on the Facebook group and go to your website to keep up with any news that is all Wesley and Kathy.
right,
Yeah. It's way more than you ever wanted to know.
way more.
throughout the year, because we get messages from people saying, "When are you coming to so and so, such and such a place?" And so we post every show that
Yeah.
we're going to.
And a lot of the shows we can't tell yet because the promoters haven't announced it yet. And we can't say it before they announce it. So we have to hold things. We have 3 shows that are booked we can't announce yet.
Well, Wesley and Kathy, it's been absolutely wonderful to be sitting down with you and like being a part, hearing your stories about Land of the Lost. And we are so excited here in the diner to be meeting you here in just a few short weeks.
Yeah.
Well, there's only one way to interview Kathy.
Okay.
The end theme song which, by the way, I sang the theme songs on the show.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
I have to be reminded of that, because every time I seem to
You
forget.
forget, don't you?
Yeah.
Forget.
He calls me every morning. Did you know that I sang?
So if you watch Bubble Boy for Disney, Jake Gyllenhaal does this, rocks out on this song. He rocks out and he pretends he's me and riding the dinosaur and stuff. And also Tenacious D, Jack Black. They do a opening and closing theme song. It's fabulous. So the closing theme song, which is my favorite part of the song, it's
When I
look all around, I can't believe the things I found. Now I need to find my way.
I'm lost.
Find me living in the land of the lost, living in the land of the lost. Sid and Marty Crawford production.
That was amazing.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much. We're running out of time here, but it was a pleasure to chat with you both, and excited to be here in a few short weeks. So
Yeah, we'll see you all in the round.
When I look all around, I can't believe the things I've found. Now I need to find my way. I'm lost, find me living in the land